Imagine being told your brain is broken, officially, on paper. Now imagine that same broken brain out-arguing a law professor on day 2. This isn't just a story about dyslexia. It's a story about how the system mislabels creatives and how much that mislabeling costs us.
Oh yeah, I have the worst case of dyslexia you ever see. My base reading and writing levels at the first grade level, and that was verified by a New York State-funded neuropsychological evaluation from a State University of New York distinguished professor in psychology. That was 20 hours of her literally just the smartest woman I ever met, Dr. Holichka, beating me up over the head with the toughest questions ever for 20 hours over 3 days.
Labels don't just hurt your confidence, they delay your career. Every year you believe you're broken is a year you don't earn.
So
Right.
they said, they got a committee together, they said, we're pulling you from all your peers. We're pulling you out of the legislative office building, and we're going to move you into the Capitol, to the Majority Leader's Program and Council's office, and they were on eggshells about me exploding. And I was like, cool, because they don't know what to do with undergrads there. That's a graduate internship. Right. That's a real one. That's real policy. So I go there and I found out why they stuck me there. Because they have 3 administrative assistants, and I had to turn in memos each week. And I have a first grade writing level, and my writing is garbage. So I very cautiously go over and say, I'm sorry, here it is. And they said, listen, the director, he has like some Ivy League degree, master's degree or something. And they said, we correct his writing all the time. They looked at mine and go, yours is going to be a little more work. We can handle it because there's 3 of them. So that worked great. Then for the academic portion, they gave me a very standard accommodation. I gave them hours-long Q&A, presentation and Q&A. At the end, they recommended 15 credits of A-. So it goes back. Remember, these accommodations were made by the New York State government itself at the highest level. It goes back to the flagship campus of the State University of New York system, SUNY Center of Buffalo. And the political science department looked at the accommodations. They didn't like them, so they modified my grade. Guess to what? How much do you think they lowered it by?
Boy, I don't know. I mean, did they understand the struggles you were going through too?
Oh, they didn't care. They ended up lowering it to 15 credits of F.
This is the creative economy in a nutshell. Institutions don't really reward potential. They reward compliance. If you wait for permission, you will go broke. The system isn't designed to reward creative wiring. It's designed to filter it out.
Wow.
The state government itself, the Speaker of the Assembly, made sure it was organized. His committee made these accommodations, and then they flunked me for it. So I had enough of this stuff. I'm done with the discrimination.
Every creative has this moment, the moment you stop asking for permission and start building your own path. That moment is the beginning of every financially successful career.
So I went to some of my professors and I said, you know what, how do I force myself to learn to read and write so I can show other dyslexics? And they said, law school. So I went and audited a couple of law classes. Now you want to talk about creative. I walk in to my second day of contracts, and it was like nothing anybody has ever heard of before. So just so you know what creative is for dyslexics. This is the top book on dyslexia, Overcoming Dyslexia by Sally Shaywitz, 2nd edition. Turning to page 78, figure 43. Do you see how the back part of your brain has all this massive neural activity and mine has next to nothing?
Yeah.
Okay, now do you see how the front part of my brain's about 2.5 times more active than yours?
Yes.
Okay, that is the advantage of dyslexia. That's where a lot more creative stuff happens. Especially, I'm oversimplifying really advanced neuroscience, but that's essentially grad school. This is simply K through college. Okay? So what happened is he called on me, and he crushed everybody else. He would call on you, ask you questions you didn't know, and crush you and embarrass the heck out of you until you eventually adapted. It's called the Socratic method.
I had teachers like that, and I loved them. They were my favorite teachers.
Oh yeah, but this is to get you toughened up so you can go before a judge and argue anything, anytime, instantaneously.
Uh-huh.
Didn't happen to me. He called me, I answered. He did that a few more times. I'm answering as his equal.
Right.
He's now kind of confused. So now he really starts going after me. I go after him, where he's yelling at me. I'm yelling at him. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Most of these things are done in less than 30 seconds. And he's like, he had to raise his hands. He said, Russell, you couldn't be any more correct. I have to move on to the next case.
This is the moment creatives forget they're allowed to have. The moment you realize the system misjudged you. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're built for something the system maybe can't measure yet.
I solved law school in that instance. I learned to read within a month. I learned to write within a couple of years.
Creatives overspend on gear, courses, and software because they think money solves skill gaps. It doesn't. Structure does. Russell didn't need a $10,000 program. He needed a system. This is the part creatives need to hear. You don't need expensive tools to level up. You need a repeatable system. The right system is worth more than the right equipment.
So then I was like, okay, I want to show other dyslexics how to do this. Took years, but eventually the New York State Senate funded me for a multi-year study. We went into the Averill Park Central School District, which was where I graduated in '92, right outside of Albany, New York. We took their best teacher, Susan Ford, and I did this on purpose, their most motivated, their most intelligent, dyslexic juniors and seniors. I wanted to see what I could do with the elite students. They were reading and writing at the 7th or 8th grade level. One class period a day for the school year. They increased to the average range of entering graduate students. Not high school, not college, graduate students. So what happened? Cost New York State less than $900. They went from they went from the 0 percentile, most of them, to the average range. They all went on to college, all graduated, GPAs of 2.5 to 3.6. What happened? Going back to the science again. That overactive part of the brain, that deals with, according to Yale, articulation followed by word analysis. I chose the graduate records exam, analytical writing assessment. Analytical, articulation. To me, about the same thing. That was the breakthrough. That's how I got started.
The system mislabels creatives constantly. Dyslexia, ADHD, neurodivergence. These aren't weaknesses. They're the source of your creative power. And the moment you stop fighting your wiring is the moment you stop being a struggling artist. Folks, thanks for joining. If you want to learn more about Russell, check the link in the description below. Also, check out our podcast for the entire interview where he completely makes a fool of me because he's on a level completely above me. So check that out. Might be fun. Catch you next time.